Right now, you're not stuck because you're lazy. You're stuck because of one toxic habit you repeat every night. It's 2 a.m. The room is dark, and the blue light from your phone is the only thing keeping you awake. You're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, watching someone your age, maybe even someone you went to high school with, posting from a beach in Bali or showing off a brand new Porsche. You look around your room, you think about your bank account, and that heavy, hollow knot starts to tighten in your chest. You tell yourself you're looking for inspiration, but let's be honest, you feel like a failure. You feel like you're falling behind in a race you didn't even sign up for. But here is the cold, hard truth that no one is telling you. That midnight scroll isn't just a bad habit. It is a psychological parasite that is actively draining your bank account, killing your focus, and stalling your progress. You are literally paying for someone else's success with the currency of your own potential. If you've been wondering why you feel stuck despite working hard, the answer isn't that you lack talent or opportunity. It's that you are trapped in a toxic cycle of comparison that has tricked your brain into staying stationary. In the United States, we are raised on the idea of the American dream and the spirit of competition. We are told that looking at the winner is how you learn to win. But in the digital age, this has backfired. Your brain wasn't designed to compare your behind-the-scenes footage with the curated, filtered, and color-graded highlight reels of 8 billion people. You do this, you aren't being competitive. You are committing psychological sabotage. Every time you check a competitor's page or a friend's LinkedIn to see how they're doing, you're experiencing a massive drop in dopamine because your brain perceives a loss in social status. This isn't just a feeling, it's a chemical reaction that shuts down the creative part of your prefrontal cortex. You cannot build your empire while you are busy auditing someone else's. You think that by watching them, you're staying informed. But the reality is that you're just becoming a spectator in their life instead of the protagonist in yours. This brings us to the core of why you aren't moving forward: the erosion of self-worth. In a high-performance culture like ours, we often tie our value to our output relative to others. If person A made 6 figures by age 25 and you're 26 and still struggling, you subconsciously label yourself as defective. This creates a scarcity mindset, the belief that there is a limited amount of success in the world, and because they have it, there's less for you. This is a mathematical lie. Success is not a fixed pie. It is an infinite resource. However, when you operate from scarcity, your brain goes into survival mode. You stop taking risks, you stop being creative, and you start playing small because you're afraid of being further embarrassed by your perceived lack of progress. You are essentially paralyzed by the ghost of who you think you should be based on someone else's timeline. To break out of this, you have to understand the focus shift principle. Think of your brain like a high-end computer. It has a very specific, limited attention budget, or RAM. You only have a certain amount of cognitive energy to spend every single day. Every minute you spend wondering how that influencer bought that house or why your old coworker got promoted over you is a minute of processing power stolen from your own execution. You are literally giving away your most valuable asset, your focus for free, to people who don't even know you exist. This is the toxic habit mentioned in the title. It's not just comparison, it's a systemic leak of your personal power. You're trying to drive your car toward your goals while staring out the rearview mirror at the person behind you. Or worse, staring out the side window at the person in the lane next to you. It's no wonder you're hitting a wall. If you want to get unstuck, you have to realize that the only person you are actually in a race with is the version of you that woke up this morning. You have to reclaim your attention budget and reinvest it into your own me versus me framework, because that is the only metric that actually leads to a payout. This brings us to the most critical realization of your career. Your brain has a limited attention budget. Think of your mental energy like a high-limit credit card that resets every morning. Every time you open an app to see what someone else is doing, you are making a massive withdrawal from that account. You are spending your most valuable currency, your focus on someone else's dreams. In a high-competition market like the US, focus is the only thing that separates the winners from the wishers. While you're busy auditing the lifestyle of a stranger on the internet, that stranger is busy executing. They aren't looking at you. They are looking at their own work. This creates a massive focus gap. You are literally paying for their success with the time you should be using to build your own. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a biological reality. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for high-level decision-making and creative problem-solving, can only handle so much data at once. When you fill that bandwidth with the highlight reels of others, you leave zero room for the breakthrough ideas that could actually get you unstuck. This constant data dump of other people's success creates what psychologists call self-worth erosion. It's a slow, quiet rot. It starts with a simple thought: I should be further along by now. That one sentence is the most dangerous phrase in the English language. It implies that there is a universal timeline for success that you have somehow missed. But who wrote that timeline? Was it you, or was it a social media algorithm designed to keep you scrolling by making you feel inadequate? In the US, we are obsessed with overnight success stories and 30 under 30 lists. But we rarely talk about the 10 years of invisible, boring work that happened before the spotlight turned on. When you compare your day one to someone else's day 1,000, you aren't being realistic. You're being unfair to yourself. This erosion leads directly into the scarcity trap, the belief that success is a finite pie and everyone else is taking your slice. You start to view your peers as threats instead of allies, and you stop sharing your own ideas because you're afraid they aren't good enough compared to the polished versions you see online. To stop this leak, you must implement the personal metric strategy. This is the ultimate me versus me framework. In any high-stakes environment, whether it's Wall Street or a Silicon Valley startup, the best performers don't look at the leaderboard every 5 minutes. They look at their own data. They look at their yesterday's performance and ask, how do I beat that by 1% today? This shifts your brain from a defense or survival mode into an offensive growth mode. When you compete with others, you are limited by their ceiling. When you compete with yourself, your potential is infinite. You need to identify your own internal KP as key performance indicators. Is your craft better than it was last week? Is your discipline stronger? Is your output more consistent? If the answer is yes, you are winning, regardless of what the person in the next lane is doing. This is how you reclaim your power. You stop being a consumer of other people's reality and start being the architect of your own. The U.S. market rewards those who are all in on their own vision. If you look at the most successful entrepreneurs, they have a trait called selective ignorance. They are intentionally blind to what their competitors are doing most of the time. Why? Because they know that looking sideways only slows you down. If you're running a 100-meter dash and you turn your head to see where the runner next to you is, you've just lost a fraction of a second. In a world of elite performance, that fraction of a second is the difference between gold and nothing. You have been losing years of progress because you keep turning your head. You've been looking for a secret or a shortcut in other people's stories, but the only secret is that there is no one else in the race. Every second you spend wondering why you aren't there, yet is a second you aren't spent getting there. You have to close the tabs, mute the notifications, and go into a season of deep work where the only voice you hear is your own ambition. This is where the real abundance begins, not in the validation of others, but in the undeniable evidence of your own daily progress. This leads us to the final breakthrough, the gratitude shift. In a culture like the United States, we are often taught that gratitude is a soft emotion, something for Sunday mornings or holiday dinners. But in the world of high performance and psychological mastery, gratitude is a tactical weapon. It is the literal antidote to the scarcity mindset. When you are in a state of comparison, your brain is scanning the environment for what is missing. It is looking at the gaps in your life, the zeros in your bank account, and the followers you don't have yet. This triggers a survival response that makes you rigid, fearful, and prone to making mistakes. However, when you intentionally shift to gratitude, you are training your brain to recognize abundance. You start to see the resources you already have: the health, the gear, the skills, and the time as assets that can be leveraged. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of not enough. You can only build it on the solid ground of what is already there. This isn't about being complacent. It's about being fueled by your current wins, so you have the energy to chase the next one's dot. To truly get unstuck, you must accept the empowering ultimatum. You are either a spectator in someone else's success story or the protagonist in your own. There is no middle ground. Every minute you spend checking in on the competition is a minute you are auditioning for a background role in their movie. In the U.S. market, we value the original, the bold, and the relentless. You cannot be any of those things if you are a carbon copy of someone else's journey. Running your own race means setting your own pace and defining your own finish line. It means understanding that abundance is not a pie with limited slices, where if someone else gets a piece, you get less. Abundance is a muscle. It only grows when you stop looking at the person in the next lane and start sprinting in yours. The dangerous habit of comparison ends the moment you realize that their success has absolutely zero impact on your potential. Their win doesn't make you a loser. Your lack of focus does not. So here's your call to action. Close the apps. Mute the influencers who make you feel less than. Stop looking for the secret in someone else's highlight reel and start looking for the work on your own desk. The world doesn't need another version of what's already trending. It needs the version of you that only emerges when you stop looking sideways. You have the tools, you have the talent, and most importantly, you still have time. But that time is ticking. You can spend it watching them, or you can spend it making them watch you. The choice is yours, but the clock doesn't reset. It's time to stop being stuck, stop being a spectator, and start being the person who actually crosses the finish line. Run your own race, stay in your own lane, and watch how fast your life changes when you finally decide to show up for it. You can spend your life watching them win, or you can finally become someone worth watching. The choice is yours.